there's been another conversation ongoing this week that has been bugging me, Amon,
Oh,
right? Because I didn't like the way people were talking about Zion's health, and I don't
yeah.
like the way people are talking about mental health right now
Mhm.
as it relates to Draymond Green, right? So, like, first you had Ryan Clark over the weekend who, put out a video via his podcast, and he's like, you know, he had issues with the way people were talking about Draymond needing therapy, and he's just like, he hasn't committed crimes. He doesn't do domestic violence. He like listed out like all these things, right? And I'm like, okay, well, those things don't have to happen for you to go to therapy. And he basically sort of described Draymond as having like impulse issues, which to me would be like, yeah, that's something you'd go to therapy for, right? So I was like annoyed over the weekend and amped up, and I, tweeted about it. Lots of people were responding to him. And then I was like, okay, conversation dies down. And then, it comes out that Draymond is he's starting therapy, and he'll miss at least 3 weeks at a minimum of
Right.
basketball. And the Warriors are gonna play later, and they do. And Shaq during the broadcast, he has more comments to say about Draymond. So let's hear what Shaq had to say.
I hate that y'all put that narrative on him.
What do you mean?
What?
Don't interrupt me. The man don't need counseling.
Draymond Green does not
he
need
does
counseling.
not need counseling.
What does he need?
I'm going to tell you what. On the court, he don't need nothing. Off the court, he's a solid human being. He's a good man.
They suspended him on the court.
No, hold on. Excuse me. Off the court, he's a solid human being. He's a great man. Everybody has to have a certain character on the court. My character, Ernie, is I will elbow you to your to your damn teeth come out your mouth.
Merry Christmas to you.
I was mean on the court, but off the court, I'm a different person. So, listen, he does a lot of crazy things on the court that he shouldn't, but don't put the narrative, he needs counseling. There's nothing wrong with Draymond. I just wanted to say it.
So you have no problem with what he's been doing on the floor?
Well, I'm not saying I don't have a problem with it, but he's been doing it. 4 or 5 years ago, when
the
4 or 5 years ago,
that's enough.
Okay, well, guess what? Say that's enough, but 4 or 5 years ago when he was doing that, y'all were saying, "Oh, he's a great power forward. Kenny, he don't need the double. He's undersized. He plays tough. This is the way."
Wait.
He made a mistake right here on this move.
You think?
But hey, all that stuff, he needs counseling. He needs to talk to people. There's nothing wrong with Drake.
I have a question for you then,
There's
Shaq.
nothing wrong with
Okay.
Green.
Okay. Now, first of all, Amon, first of all, this is not what he was doing in the past. And I'm not saying that Draymond didn't do things in the past. I know he's always been like a polarizing figure, but the degree and the severity has certainly escalated in the last year and a half. He punched his teammate, okay? He choked out Rudy Gobert and dragged him across the court. And like, that's not the kind of stuff he was getting ejected for before in the past. So yes, it's risen to another level, Shaq. But this thing, about nothing wrong with him, doesn't need therapy, he's a good man. It's like there's just this stigma around mental health and going to therapy. Anyone who knows me knows I'm a huge therapy proponent. I advocate for it. I go to therapy every week. Whether you qualify me as something wrong with me or not, like therapy is to help you with managing a variety of things, whether it's a diagnosed disorder or your emotional state, or it's to preserve your mental health. And I like to say the way that you go to the gym to preserve your physical health is the same way that you go to a therapist to preserve your mental health. And one of many reasons it's so important for your mental health to be in a good state is because your mental health, if you're stressed, anxiety, that can literally manifest itself and cause physical health problems for you. So I just need this kind of talk around therapy to be better, to be more informed. It's really doing a disservice to therapy. And for me, what I think in a community that really needs it, the Black community, it's really a disservice for us to talk about therapy in this way, Imman.
No, I think you're entirely correct. And I think us having conversations about our mental health in the same way we have conversations about our physical health is so important, right? Recognizing you're not going to tell someone, "Oh, you don't need to go in the gym. You're fine." is a ridiculous thing to say to a person because it's like, no, you recognize that the gym is a tool to help maintain their physique. It's also a tool to help maintain their health. It's also something to help you get better and give you tools to deal with your mental health. It should be the same thing for therapy and counseling. Understanding it is only a thing that people who are sick need creates a stigma that does not need to exist around one, mental health, and two, counseling, right? The idea that something needs to be wrong with Draymond in order to go to counseling, or that somehow going to counseling means that he's bad, is a ridiculous thing to just perpetuate out there. It's so dangerous and it's so harmful because therapy, especially in the NBA, who wants to focus on mental health, especially in the NBA that is promoting this thing, takes a step back. Like, as the NBA is trying to take 2 steps forward, here we have Shaq taking 2 steps backwards for them. It doesn't make sense to have conversations like this. But where I think the NBA does itself a disservice is by making it mandatory for players to get it, because then it does feel like a punishment. So where Shaq is coming from is, hey, Draymond is being forced to take this. It's part of his conditions, if I'm not mistaken, in order to return. And it's something that a lot of other guys have also had to deal with in order for them to come back. Employers forcing employees to go get counseling is a dangerous territory that we're entering that I don't know that I'm equipped to really answer, but I get why Shaq now sees it as this thing that he has to comment on as though it's negative, but that's also incredibly dangerous. We need to have these conversations and say therapy is great and it's for people who are thriving in life, just like it's for people who are struggling in life, but employers forcing their employees to go to counseling is maybe murky waters that we should have larger conversations on, but without stigmatizing mental health.
Yeah,
If that makes sense.
it does. And that's a good point that I need to think about a little bit more. But, I will say that Draymond is someone who likes to talk. So I hope that he goes to therapy, finds a therapist that he likes and enjoys it, and continues it even when he does return. Ja Morant just returned and he talked about it, and he had a lot of good things to say about going to counseling and how much it helped him. So that's my hope for this entire situation.
Hey, thank you for watching Brother from Another. If you haven't hit that subscribe button, go ahead and do that now. Don't forget, you can catch us 3 to 4 weekdays on PeacockTV.com and on Sirius XM Channel 85.